everybody. Woo! Gingy Beast here for Conquer Clothing. What is up? I hope you are all doing well. This is a video for the YouTube channel, Gingy Beast / Mental Health Awareness channel. I'm going to ask right off the start, let's kick it off. I'm going to ask for your support. I'm going to ask you to subscribe. I'm going to ask you to like, comment. I'm going to ask you positive or negative, share a story. I'm trying to create a mental health community channel, a free, open, healthy forum here on YouTube where people can share their story, what they've been through, what they're going through, just give advice, share advice. Your story could inspire somebody to help them get through their mental health issues. I'm just trying to create a channel to help people. I'm trying to create a channel to help you, to help me, to help everybody. So fucking subscribe and fucking like because you don't want to see me do that again. Alright? So please subscribe to the Gingy Beast / Mental Health Awareness YouTube channel. Also, please check out www.conquerclothing.com. That is our website for Conquer Clothing. That is where you can purchase our clothing items, golf shirts, polo shirts, sweaters, t-shirts, hats, toques, crop tops. We do donate to mental health facilities through your purchases, through my public speaking. That is how we donate. The clothing promotes us out in the society. It gets the message out there. The clothing is a loudspeaker. And once again, I always like to throw this in. If you can't afford things, fucking cool. But please go to the Instagram, Conquer, CONQUER _clothing, or go to my Facebook, Geoff Archie. Repost our posts, like our posts, share our posts, leave a positive comment, leave a negative comment. It's a free world, say what you want to say. But by all means, anything you do in reposting or sharing through Conquer Clothing is supporting mental health awareness. That is what we're trying to do. We're trying to break the stigma and we're trying to let people know it's okay to not be okay. So please support Conquer Clothing, please support the YouTube channel. Now, let's get into it. Today, I wanted to talk about sobriety. Yes, sobriety. And that is a hard topic for a lot of people. It's an important one for me because I'm hitting a goal next week of being sober for 5 years. So that's a big deal for me. Let's dance. I'm happy. I've achieved 5 years of sobriety, and I'd like to share just a bit of my story, my journey, my personal experience, nobody else's. This is my personal experience. I just wanted to give some insight to it. And right off, disclaimer to this video, to all you people who drink, party, live that rock star lifestyle, I applaud you. If you can do that and be a functioning member in society, take care of yourself, your family, and live a happy, positive life, by all means, man, I support that 100%. Getting sober for me was a life choice because I'd be dead or I'd be in jail. So by no means am I trying to sound better than anybody or being arrogant or cocky. I needed to do it. Disclaimer over. Let's move forward. Into the life of Gingy Beast. So to kick it off, let's go. As an adolescent, in my teenage years, I always fucked with weed, hash, and drank, like any teenager. Moving forward in my 20s, I kept it that way. Into my 30s, I might have dabbled a bit late in life with cocaine, booze, but it was never an issue. Move forward into my later 30s, later 30s, I ended up dating a lady who was a weekend warrior, as we call it. She partied, cocaine, and drank on weekends. That's cool. I told her I wasn't one of those people, but, you know, when you start dating somebody, you do pick up their habits occasionally. I don't blame her for anything. Let's get that clear. I did in my pity party when I was at my lowest point in life. Yeah, sure, I blamed everybody. Fuck. Everyone was a motherfucker, including God at that point. So my point is, that I don't blame her for my faults. I could have said no, I could have been stronger, but like I said, I did develop her habits. So I started dating this lady, started doing cocaine, started drinking. As we progressed into like our second year of dating, it was a regular habit. I eventually started using during the week. I eventually started drinking during the week. And cocaine and booze, oh, they go together, man. That shit is like, I'm surprised the government doesn't sell it as a package. But that's what I was doing, drinking and cocaine during the week by myself at this as this relationship progressed. And as it went further on, My mother did develop cancer. She became ill. Didn't stop me. I kept partying. I kept drinking. My mental health, my pre-existing mental health issues, such as my night terrors, my PTSD, my depression, my anxiety, increasing. Is that a word? It increased. Oh my God. My mental health issues, my pre-existing mental health issues increased and got worse. But yet I still continued because I thought that drinking and doing the cocaine would mask my issues and it would hide my mental health issues I was struggling with. So eventually the girl I was dating, we broke up. She went her way, I went mine. I continued to use drugs. I continued to drink. I continued, because I was also on disability at this point from work, I continued to abuse alcohol and drugs, period, on a daily basis. My mother was dying from cancer at this time. I was trying to do the drugs and alcohol to also forget that. I became super selfish. I became a piece of shit, an asshole. I treated my mother like garbage. To this day, I regret that, and I'm learning or trying, as my mother told me all the time, that you need to forgive yourself before you can move on. And that's a work in progress, forgiving myself for how I treated my mother. My mother did everything within her grasp and means to help me with my mental health issues, with therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. Most mothers would have kicked me to the curb, called the cops on me, would have forgotten about me. My mother did not. My mother stood beside me the whole way. Don't ever treat people like that poorly. I did, and I regret it. And like I said, I'm working on forgiving myself. So my mother was ill with cancer. I was single. I was on disability. I was struggling with my mental health issues because the reason why I went on disability is because my mental illness is imploded. The abuse as a child I went through, all the death I'd seen. I've been through over 30 funerals in my life. Everything that came to a forefront, the horrible things I witnessed in my life, I relive in my sleep. Everything was way worse. Anxiety, sometimes I couldn't get out of bed. But I was still using cocaine. I was still drinking. And my mother was sick. So basically, as I was doing this on a daily basis, I was just getting deeper and deeper down the hole. I was having more suicidal thoughts. I was struggling harder than ever. I eventually was locked up in a hospital in the basement, and it was really weird. It's like someone popped me like a red pill or a blue pill in the Matrix, and Neo sent me on my way. I woke up in a room. It was just a white room, white bed, video camera, a slot for sandwiches, some really shitty fucking tasting dry cheese sandwiches, and that's where I stayed until a psychiatrist came to visit me. The one blessing out of being locked up like that, I met the best psychiatrist I ever had. He was like Mr. Garrison from South Park. He was awesome. He had a huge heart. He was an angry man, but he helped me a lot with my mental health issues. But I still hid my addictions. Then I hit some legal issues, some legal trouble. Just kept piling shit on my plate. Like my mother said, I always like to live a hard life. I always like to live the hard way. I always like to learn my lessons the hard way. So, life was bad. Coke and booze every day. I'm alone. My mother's very sick with cancer. I have legal issues pending. Wasn't good. Still on disability. Still alone. So, you think a lot in those points in time. And like, one thing was the fact that, let me just throw this in there. At one point in my life, I worked in a homeless shelter. In homeless shelters, you see everything in the world. The things I saw in the homeless shelter, I'll never see again unless I work in a shelter again. You see drug addicts, alcoholics, people down on their luck. The worst mental health cases you're probably ever going to see. So when I'm working there, you think, fuck man, a guy who works in that environment, you think he's never going to become an addict or anything like that. Fuck that shit. I used to sit there and tell myself I would never become that after working. I could never. It was a thought I never fathomed. It would never come to fruition. Let me tell you, motherfuckers, don't ever say it can't happen to you. Because it sure as hell happened to me. I became an addict. Even though I worked in the environment and saw it years ago, you would think that would have been enough to stop me in my future from ever becoming an addict. Nope. So don't ever say it can't happen to you. Don't ever judge people. Don't ever judge people on their past, their present, or what they're going through at the present day. Don't ever judge people. because you don't know what brought them to that point. I never judged them, but I never thought I'd become like that, and I did. And there was a lot of telltale signs. You think, like, back in the day, like, I'm just two comments that stuck with me through my battles. Back in my past, my fiance at one point had said, just when I was doing hash and weed and drinking, she said, Geoff, you have such a beautiful smile. Some may beg to differ, but you only smile when you're high. Whoa, that's deep. That's not something you want to hear. And then my mother drank like 3 times a year, a glass of wine. Even if she finished it, she'd be lucky. And her cheeks would get rosy, and I'd always tease her and say, well, I'm drunk. And she'd be like, I'm not drunk. But she looked it, but she wasn't. She just never drank. But my mother used to always say, why do you need a drink to be social? Why do you need to drink to go out? Why do you need to drink to be with your friends? Ouch. It's another 2 zinger comments that always rang in my head. And later in my journey, I've been able to sit back and say, I don't need to drink to be with people. I found myself. I don't need to smile when I'm high, because I'm not high anymore, and I can smile without drugs and alcohol. Later in life, through my journey here, I have overcome those things, but they still ring in my head pretty deep. That my mother had said that, and my fiance who has passed on said that too. So think about that to yourself. Do you only smile when you drink? Are you only happy when you're high? Do you always need a drink to go out? Might be a sign of some future problems, because it was my future problems. So anyway, moving forward, I was on disability, I was alone, my mother was dying, I was having legal struggles. My mother does eventually pass away. That did not help. My mother was my rock. But thank God I had my father who stepped up to bat to pull my head out of my ass also. So it was real bad. And I mean, like, you sit there and you wonder, how does someone get addicted and how does that cycle continue? Well, let me tell you, when you're using drugs consistently, and when you go to bed at 6 in the morning and you wake up at 3 in the afternoon, that sobering slap in the face of reality, you fucking don't want that. Because for me, it was suicidal thoughts. As soon as I was sober, suicidal thoughts. Why am I living like this? Fuck, where's the next, can I get a line? Fuck yeah. Okay, back into the fantasy land where I can mask my issues. That's how the cycle continues. Because in that like 10 minutes to an hour sobering time where you're looking for your next drug or drink, reality sets in and you want to die. For me personally, that's how I felt. And I had witnessed my neighbor jump off her balcony. I hope she's in a better place. But what I'm trying to say is, in that sobering moments, those sobering moments, very few I had during that time, that balcony was there for me to jump off of anytime I wanted. And I thought about that every single time I woke up from a coke binge or an alcohol night. Well, they're usually both together. Let's be real here. So anyway, the many times I straddled that balcony. Let's forget that I said straddle. Remove that from the record, please. I would sit on my balcony many times and dangle my feet over it, man. One little inch more, I would have been off that balcony and ended everything. So I thought. I'd be at peace and forget my depressions, forget my addictions. That's how that little that little space of time from waking up at 3 in the afternoon before I get my next fix, that was my thought pattern, only thought pattern. Till I got that next drink or drug in my system. It's a shitty fucking deal, man. And if you're having those thoughts, please get help, man. I post hotlines on Facebook, on the Instagram, the website. If those thoughts are hitting you, please dial a number, please get help. Go to our Conquer pages. So anyway, it was bad. Locked up in the hospital, legal issues, mom's gone, putting my dad through hell now. I just switched from one parent to another and abused them. Hung out with people I shouldn't have been around, people who enabled me, people who wanted me there because I fucking snorted all the coke they would. It wasn't cool, man. It was a terrible fucking time. I hit an all-time low. So at one point, let's skip a lot of the damage, but at one point I was in a forest walking one day and I sat beside a tree. Sounds like a book, but anyway, I did. And I thought to myself, either man up or end your life right now. Just fucking do it. Pick one or the other. Now, manning up sounds pretty hard sounded really fucking tough at the time. Ending my life sounded pretty fucking easy. Thank God I chose manning up. I chose getting sober. I literally went home that day, looked in the mirror and said, fuck you, let's do this. Or end it. Because the balcony was always there. Balcony was always there. So I got sober. You and me, right? But little do you know, or if you do, good for you. Sobriety is something you can't just dabble in. You don't play with sobriety. You get sober or you don't get sober. I got sober for 300 days. 300 days. I got sober. Went to my friend's bar downtown the market. Hey everybody, been sober 300 days. I need a drink. Let's celebrate. It's not really what I said, but I had a drink. That drink led to an 8-ball. That 8-ball led to a 26er of vodka, which led to another 8-ball, which led to a 26er of Jameson, which led to a bunch of people coming to my apartment after and partying till late in the morning. Which then led to 2 in the afternoon waking up, walking to my balcony and sitting on it again. Sitting on the ledge of my balcony. I called my cousin, bawling my eyes out. Thank God he came to my rescue. He got my dad to come over. My dad came and got me and took me back to his place. Shitty buzz, man. So once again, sobriety is not something you should dabble with. You should do it. You either get clean and sober or you don't. I thought I could just go sober again the next day after celebrating 300 days. Fuck no. What a stupid fucking idea that was. You know, lesson learned. You're either in or you're not. You go all in, that's it. So the next day, after I had a good fucking pity session, pulled my fucking big boy pants back on and got sober. For real this time. And then the journey begins on what it's like to get sober from my personal experiences. And I'm just going to say a few things that I went through. So, like, straight up, after the 300 little party celebration, which resulted in suicidal thoughts, because I'm an idiot, I got sober the next day. I started all over again. Failure leads to success. They say that, and I do believe in it, because I failed a million times, and I'm still here back on my feet. And I got sober. So don't look at failure as the end to anything. Failure is just another step to success in achieving your goals. I'm 5 years sober next week. I've achieved 5 goals, 5 years of sobriety. So along that journey though, I had to learn how to love myself, which I'm still working on. So basically I learned to like myself. I learned to be alone. I learned to not depend on others. I learned to clean out my friendship closet and get rid of all the enablers and the bad influences. And those people didn't give a fuck anyway, right? They didn't. Those people didn't give a fuck about me. That's obvious because they're not in my life and they never cared to check on me. So, and I'm not saying that in a negative way. It was a good thing. I'm stronger for it. So I learned to be independent, not to rely on people. I learned how to find other hobbies to fill the holes of drug and alcohol. The gym is my savior. But to fill those holes, you got to find other things to do. You have to find other hobbies. I would go for walks. I would go on the internet and read about my heritage in Norway, which my mother was so passionate about. I've learned so much about my heritage in Norway and Ireland. Those things. You have to find things to fill those holes. Going for long drives. I got back in contact with certain family members. You know, you have to do those things. You have to fill the voids. So I learned to enjoy my alone time, my own company. And it was a good thing. And I mean, it's just a trial and tribulation you're going to go through to get sober. Another part of getting sober is you're going to experience certain things like I did, perhaps. Along the lines of friends and going out or just socializing. You're going to learn 3 things. As far as I'm concerned, this is what I learned. You might not learn it. You might not go through it, but I did. 1, friends and people aren't going to want you around because you're sober, because you're a buzzkill. 2, friends and people are not going to want you around because they're scared you're going to relapse. Now, you can look at that in several different ways. 1, they care enough, they don't want you to come out with them because they're scared you're going to relapse. But if they really cared about you and were worried about that, they wouldn't drink around you or take you around drugs. They would take you somewhere more productive and more isolated from that kind of environment. 3, you're going to go out and meet people that don't want you around because you remind them of their demons they're battling and they can't overcome. Because they're going to see you and go, fuck, this guy got sober? I can do it. Or can I do it? fuck. And you're going to ruin their good night because they're partying and they know they have addiction issues. So let's go through that one more time. 1, people aren't going to want you around because you're a buzzkill. 2, people aren't going to want you around because they're scared you're going to relapse. 3, people aren't going to want you around because you're going to remind them of their demons. That's just my personal experience. I have a friendship circle that I kept from back then. Those friends know who they are because they're still in my life. But fuck did I get rid of a lot of people. And you have to do that to get sober. Getting sober is a journey, man. Much respect to my friend Seamus. Much respect to Brian McGrattan. They've both been sober over 10 years, and they're inspirational. But that's what I had to do. My life for 2 years, I went hermit. 2 fucking years I was a hermit. And in those 2 years, all I did was go to work. I went to work, I went to the gym, and the grocery store, and home. 7 days a week, every month. That's all I did for 2 years. Maybe the grocery store a little less. I do eat a lot. I was at the grocery store a lot. And Walmart on Saturday nights became my fucking nightclub. The gym and Walmart were like my nightclub. I go to Walmart on Saturday nights and just walk around. It was fucked up. Saw a lot of fucked up shit there too. Let's go to those Walmart websites. But that is what I did to fill a void. If I got anxious or I was had any evil thoughts, occupy your mind, man. Don't let it spiral. Don't let that shit spiral. Get a hobby, do something. Just keep the mind active and off what might bring you back to relapsing. Whatever your addiction is. Food, spending money, being an asshole. A lot of people are addicted to being assholes in this world. But anyway, that's what I did. Work, gym, home. Work, gym, home. The occasional friend would take me out and we go out for dinner. That's it. But I needed that. I needed that alone time to learn to love myself, which I'm working on. I needed that time to be independent. I needed that time to learn to enjoy my own company, to talk to my cats, to talk to my hamster Floki. It was great. I learned a lot about myself, man. Getting sober is a journey, but you can't half-ass it. It's like that house you want. You gotta work for it. It's like that promotion at work. You gotta work for it. You gotta work for sobriety. You gotta work for it. There's no half-assing it. Anyway, I hope this video helps. That was just a bit of touch on my journey. It was a rough one. I'm glad I've overcome it. I'm stronger for it. In every word, every aspect or definition of the word strong. I'm much stronger mentally, physically, for overcoming my addiction. God bless my mother. She sees me now that I'm sober. I thank my father for being there. Those certain friends, because I lost a shitload of friends. Once you're sober, you see clear. I can go out now and I don't care. You can snort whatever you want in front of me. You can do anything. I will never relapse on that. I know I've said never say never, but in that world, I know I will never relapse. I might smoke a joint or something like that at some time, but I will never do any of that other stuff ever again in my life. I'm very happy where I'm at this way. And it's always funny when you go out, you'll meet those random assholes. Like some girl, I was out with some friends, and she sat across the table from me, and she's like, "Oh, you want a shooter? Oh, no, you're doing that sober thing? Are you still doing that? Do you want a shot? Are you still doing the sober thing?" No, you know what, dumbass? Give me a shooter, because I want to throw 5 years of my sobriety down the tubes, because I'm just doing that sober thing. People can be really ignorant. Just because they don't struggle, so they don't know, right? So I shouldn't be rude about it, but some people can be ignorant. Anyway, I hope this has helped. I hope this has hit some people. I hope this advice has helped some people. And please give me some feedback. Like I said, this is my personal journey. I hope you've made it this far in my journey, to listen to what I've had to say. I don't mean any disrespect to anybody. Like I said, please subscribe, please like, please leave a comment. I'm just trying to help you help me and help a lot of other people. So please support the channel, subscribe, like, support Conquer Clothing. And to anyone who wants to get sober, man, if you need help, get the help. If you need to talk to a counselor, a doctor, your friends, your family, please do it. Get the help you need. Just get the help you need. You're not a lesser person for asking for help. Speak up, reach out, get the help, okay? I post hotlines all the time on Conquer Clothing pages and the website. Take care, people. I hope this had some insight to people who needed it. into their life and maybe helping them get sober. So please take care. Please support the channel. Peace out.